Are you looking for a podcast
to leave you charmed?
Then you must be thinking of another podcast.
Well, hello, Kelsey.
Hello, Robert.
Welcome, listeners, to what will be the second most timely thing we've ever done. Number
it's gonna
one
be a quick
being
turnaround on this, bud.
International Podcast Day. We actually did that, just the day of.
That was so good. We were on it.
So, special show. We're doing a Halloween episode.
Are you guys surprised to see us in your feed? Did you expect us here today?
What? It's a spoopy day. What's going on?
It's Thursday.
I'm going to go ahead and introduce my good friend, special guest, Mary.
Hello.
Hello, Mary.
Hey, Mary.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
What brings you to this podcast today?
I got dragged here.
Oh,
Get dragged here. Oh, man.
That sounds violent.
Well, I mean, that kind of suits the season.
It does.
I guess. Drag me to podcast.
Forced against my will.
I would see that movie.
I would too.
You've seen Drag Me to Hell, right?
I'm gonna say no.
It's really
Oh,
good.
man. Oh, it's so good.
I think I've heard of it. Is it the one? It's not the one where they're in the elevator, right?
No.
No, I think the one's literally called Hellevator.
Oh.
But that one's called Devil, by the way.
Oh. No, Hellevator was the real life,
Oh, the game show.
yeah, where they all went on
Yes.
there and had to escape.
Oh my
yeah.
god, that was such a good
That
game
was a good
It
show.
was a really good show. Me and Taylor binged it for
Oh,
a
man.
full
I
day.
remember that.
It was so
Guys,
good.
we are so far off topic already.
But are we, though?
Not really.
You're right, you're right.
So, for Halloween, we figured what more of a special treat than to bring you a true, honest witch?
Yes.
Is that what I would call you?
Yes.
Why is there a
Okay.
question mark at the end of that? A true and honest
Witch? Like,
I think it's
huh?
because the terminology can be kind of
I mean,
iffy.
yeah, a witch can be seen as kind of a bad term, in a way.
Yeah.
But that's the stereotype you're here to alleviate for us, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, as much as I can. Like, my version of a witch is going to be different from other people's versions of a witch. Like, there's not any, true standard to it. I can just kind of tell you what I know and I've been raised to know, as opposed to the vast majority of other people.
Which probably only know what's in movies.
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, this is pretty much what I know until I met you,
Yeah.
so...
So let's hear it from the witch's mouth. What defines modern witches, modern witchcraft, that kind of stuff?
I think the really simplified answer for that is anyone that practices magic, and not just in a fake story kind of way, like someone that genuinely practices magic. They know that they have the ability to perform it. They see results from it. Anybody that can perform spells or enchantments and not even just that, but anybody that betters themselves with, nature, spirituality, that would be considered a witch.
Okay.
It's just kind of like a bucket term for anyone that practices magic.
Yeah.
All right. So what kind of magic are you into?
I do a lot of different things. Fall into two separate categories. I fall into one category that's an eclectic witch. And eclectic witches are basically, they're not self-taught, but they do practice on their own, kind of make their own rules. They learn their own spells.
Renegade witch.
A what?
A renegade witch.
Yeah, basically. We're off on our own, doing our own
Yeah.
thing. And
Rebels.
that's okay, because we teach ourselves our own magic, as opposed to having a coven, like a lot of witches normally do.
Yeah.
And then
Are covens still a thing?
they are very much so. And the witchy community, you have to know what to look for to find them, but they're definitely still around. My mom actually knows a couple of different covens, but she's more of a solitary witch as well.
Oh, cool. I didn't know witches was a family thing. So are your powers inherited or taught or?
A little bit of both. I think mine started out because which brings me to my second category that I would fall in as a witch, is a hedge witch. So I'm very connected to like the spiritual realm, the paranormal, and growing up, that was always pretty genetic in our family, and I think that's how my mom got started into witchcraft. And so whenever I started coming onto my own, Mom kind of like showed me, here's what I know, here's what I do.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a learned trait by just my small immediate family.
So it's not like, here's like a standard set of stuff to know. It's like, well, here's what I know, and you kind of build it like as like the family line kind of goes.
Yeah,
kind
pretty
of
much. Because even Mom now is like, she's meeting up with these other covens and learning from them, and then she brings it back and teaches it to us. So it is, a learned pass down from family to family.
Yeah. So I actually was telling someone at work about it, and they wanted to know, so your mom does it.
Mm-hmm.
Did your grandma do it? Like, where did it start, let's say, in your family line?
I really wouldn't be able to tell you where it started. I know of my just mom.
Okay.
And I know she's learned things from other people, but definitely not my grandmother, because my grandmother is very Christian religious, and so the whole idea to her is like heathen.
Yeah.
Mm. So on the topic of like religion, so witchcraft in itself, would you consider it a religion, or is it like a subset of Wiccanism or paganism, or am I totally off the ball here?
So witchcraft isn't a religion, but it does have branches that are. So Wicca is its own religion, and Wicca is like, it's considered a pagan religion, and all that means is that people that are a part of the Wicca religion worship multiple deities. The word pagan came from some of the first Christians that created this bucket term for anybody that worshipped multiple deities. So even the ancient Egyptians would have been considered pagan.
Yeah.
And Wicca is, because they worship the multiple deities, it is a form of witchcraft that is a religion, whereas most witchcraft is not.
I'm learning so much here, honestly. I'm just like sitting here, eyes wide open, like I'm in school. Teach me.
Well,
I'm so excited.
Well, I mean, like we'd said, pretty much all that I would think that the majority of people would know is like, oh yeah, I watched Hocus Pocus as a kid. That's what a witch is. They have a spell book. They do this. They do that. Like,
I mean, and that's kind of right. I do have a spell book.
Yeah.
But, like, I think a lot of people think that, oh, you're pagan, you're a witch, or, oh, you're Wicca, you're a witch, or, oh, you're a witch, you must be Wicca, and they don't go, like, hand in hand at all, because they're all their own individual thing.
Yeah. So it's kind of like saying, like, Christianity, but then there's, like...
Catholic,
there's Baptist, there's Catholic, there's Methodist, there's all these different things, and while you are technically in, like, this giant overarching term, you're not really related to any of the rest, because they have their own thing that they focus on or pertain to.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a good way of explaining it, minus the religion portion.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So you said that you have a spell book.
Mm-hmm.
So is that, because you said it's like a family thing,
Mm-hmm.
so is it one that like you made on your own?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So I have all of my spells that I've learned myself, kind of like through trial and error. And then I also have things that my mom, based on trial and error, has been like, oh, this works, use this. And by spells, it's not just like enchantments or
it's not just like
that.
say some words and then boom, a thing happens.
Yeah, it's like use, and it's a lot of like natural things, oils, herbs. We're very much earthy, and so my mom will be like, oh, use this combination of like a potion almost, use this combination for whatever it is you're dealing with here, and stuff like that. I do have like actual like incantations and stuff, but all of those are more learned on my own.
So it was, what was the first term that you used?
Which one?
For the type of witch that you are.
Eclectic.
Okay. So that was that you do stuff on your own. So does that mean that you can sometimes like create your own spell in a way as you find something that works?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of thing? Okay.
Yeah. It's all about like knowing like the basics of everything and how nature works in general, how your magic works, and then combining them to find things that work for you.
Okay.
So it's like you have one ingredient that does one thing and then a second ingredient that does another thing, but when you put them together, they do those two things together, or they do something new? You just kind of have to learn as you go.
Yeah, like a spell book's just a witch cookbook, basically.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own recipes, but you tweak it and figure out how your taste buds like it best.
Yeah, because you had said that, like, you see what works for you, so you have a spell or something in your book, you show it to somebody that you're close to, and it won't work for them just because it doesn't seem to work for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not necessarily like, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, because in, like, I guess modern media witch, it's if I say these words, this is what happens, period.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way this works, but that is
You
not
gather all
the
the
real
different
thing.
ingredients,
Oh, no.
and one solution comes out of it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, like, been able to grab somebody else's spell and it actually work for me or do anything. I always have to tweak it or refine it to make it work for me. I can never go just based off of, here, take this and go. It's just not how it really works.
So, what would be one that you use the most for yourself?
I like to sacrifice things so I can find things that have been stolen from me.
Okay.
That is the
Are
one.
you sacrificing like little animals or like?
So I'll sacrifice like knickknacks and stuff. Like if I'm searching for something, I'll find something of equal or lesser value that I just don't want. And
Dude, the law of equivalent exchange is real.
Exactly.
Okay?
You take that and you sacrifice that to get what you want back.
Okay.
I lost my dog. I'm gonna fucking chuck my car keys into the sea and have my dog come back to me.
I mean, when it comes to life, though, and this is where it can get kind of, like, dark and creepy, but I've always found, and, like, again, I go back to what I say doesn't relate to all witches, but I've always found that when it comes to life, it's very much an eye for an eye. So I kind of stay away from anything that affects, like, other people, because you know, if you want to... If you're looking for your dog, you would have to sacrifice a dog, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then again, like, how do you know the true value of this dog versus any other dog?
Exactly.
Like, there's a whole lot of unknown.
Because I was talking with someone once, and they were asking me kind of similar questions. They were like, if my dog passed away, you know, would you be able to bring it back? Just like hypothetical. Oh. And I'm like, honestly, if I believe that that was something I could do, you wouldn't want me to. Because you would have to sacrifice something living that you loved as much as you loved that dog.
Yeah.
And
so we don't condone violence against animals on this podcast.
So both of you don't fucking watch these movies. But that's exactly what happens in the Marvel movies to get the fucking Infinity Stone, man.
What?
They sacrifice dogs?
No, you have to sacrifice something that, like, you truly love to get it because it's the ultimate loss, right?
Yeah.
Is that why Tony Stark is dead?
No, that's when Thanos kills his daughter. Because
Jesus.
Because she laughs at him. She's like, ha, that's so funny. You can't ever get it because you don't love anything.
Magora or whatever her name is.
Gamora, yeah. Magora. That name sounds like straight out of Mortal Kombat. That sounds awesome.
I was close.
Yeah.
I just switched some letters around.
But so, like, it's this thing of, like, such infinite power. And I guess in that, like, love is so powerful. How can you equate how much you love something? And she didn't even know that he actually loved her. And he throws her off the fucking cliff and he gets this rock in exchange. And it hurts so bad for him. But he gets the thing. Like,
well, ain't
you
that the
can't
saddest?
know what equals that.
Yeah. I didn't know Magora died.
Yeah, dude. But
I
she's
know
back.
Stark
It's fine.
dies.
It's fine. You don't even
I
watch
just want
those.
the world to
I read
know
about
that
them.
Robert can relate anything back to the Marvel Universe, I swear to God.
I sure can, man.
It's like I can find a song for anything. It's
Yeah, I
exactly
know.
how you can do the Marvel thing.
Well, so this is reminding me more of... I don't think either of you have watched this one. It's an anime called Full Metal Alchemist.
I haven't watched it, but I really want to, so don't do any major spoilers.
I'm not, but have you watched
I've
it?
seen like a couple of episodes here
Okay.
and there.
So the whole premise is that they use alchemy, so it's not really magic, because you can't just go, boom, I've made this. Everything that they do is the science of equivalent exchange. To get this must be put into it. So this is like 3 episodes in of like 60 shows. It's fine, you guys will live.
Okay.
I don't care about spoilers. I read everything.
But the whole reason the show is happening is because their mom dies. And so they're like 8 and 6 years old or whatever, and they come up with the like true measurements of everything that makes a human being's body. Like 12 grams of salt, all this of like calcium, and they come up with all this stuff, but there is no way to define the soul. So they can never bring her back because they can't equate to that. And the thing that they make is truly horrifying in what comes out because it's not equivalent to what they had at all.
Okay.
You know? And so that's what I imagine why you wouldn't want to mess with that stuff, because how do you know what equals, let's say, a soul?
Yeah.
Or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I always, in my head, envision it as, if you lost one kid to, like, a death and you wanted to bring them back, you would have to kill the other kid.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a no sleep story.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, you could just find the pet cemetery and then boom.
I
there
was
you go.
just thinking, it kind of reminds me of Pet Cemetery. Minus the sacrificing people.
So back on spells, you said that you do a lot of like homebrew stuff, a lot of like new things and trial and error. Has a spell ever dramatically backfired on you?
No.
Good.
I feel like they can...
I worry.
They can only ever be successful or just not work at all, has been my experience.
Okay.
Okay.
You either fully believe that it's going to be successful and put your 100% heart and soul, or you're just sitting there looking at some...
And going like, well, this
Yeah.
isn't happening.
Yeah. You're just looking at some
So-
candles
Okay.
burning or
Yeah.
oils burning.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of just intention setting, you know, like you have to have the right mindset going into it and be like, I want this to succeed. I'm going to do everything in my power to make it succeed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a lot of your personal mindset and belief in not just what you're doing, but the belief in yourself that you can make it work.
Yeah.
Because, like, anybody that doesn't, believe in magic or the spiritual realm, like, goes into something like this, they're not going to get any results because they're looking for it to prove to themselves that it exists,
Yeah.
as opposed to already knowing that it exists.
It's kind of like hypnotism. They say, like, if you go in skeptical, you're not allowing yourself to actually be drawn into it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I feel like I would be that person that's like, I'm waiting for it to happen. Like, I probably don't know, like, in a hypnotism sense, that I could give myself to it that way.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, it's a real trust thing. So it's really, you really gotta, like, put yourself into it and be, like, honest and truthful with the stuff you're doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's just, you're not going to see any results if you don't.
Yeah.
So there's, like, and there's no, like, bad thing about that, because if you don't get results, it's not doing anything major
Yeah.
to your life. Unless, you're sacrificing children.
Well, yeah.
And
Yeah,
not
probably
getting
don't do
results.
that.
Yeah.
We don't recommend it.
Since it's so much of this, like, being aware of, like, your surroundings and you and all that stuff, would you say that you are more susceptible to, like, spirits and such? You're like you're more just aware of the world, even in a sense of the stuff that we can't see?
Yeah, so even before, like, witchcraft was a part of my life, I was...
Oh, we cracking it, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm cracking open this potion here.
Okay, hang on. Oh, ouch, that hurt.
Yours backfired.
I didn't believe. So, even before
witchcraft was, like, a part of my life, the spiritual, paranormal world was always there, and I feel like that's how it all kind of started for me. Because
okay.
I would, see things, hear things that weren't there, see people that weren't there, and I was like, as a young kid, what's going on? Why is this happening? How do I control this? And that's where I kind of migrated into the witchcraft.
Yeah. So someone asked me a weird question at work that I don't think I wrote down for you guys, but they kind of took it into a nature versus nurture aspect, because they were like, okay, so she does this, but is it because she was raised with it? So it's like that's what she knows. But it sounds like you literally fell into it because you already had this awareness.
Yeah, I
You already
definitely
saw this stuff.
came into it on my own, and regardless of whether or not my mother practiced, like, she always kept it hidden from us. Because my mother uses, like, different tools than what I use.
Yeah.
And so she would always keep those hidden away because she knows the consequences of other people getting into her stuff. And so it was never anything very open or public about her. And she didn't start introducing us until we actually came to her with our own issues.
Like questions and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm seeing people. Why am I seeing people?
Well, it's time.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And then
And then she busts out the spell book.
And then it wasn't always like this is what you have to do. It was, here, you can try these things if you want to.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I equate it to someone forcing religion upon their child and forcing them to go to church.
Which is kind of what the person was asking that for. Because,
Yeah.
there's some people, their parents are super religious, and no matter how much your parents have taken you, it's like, I don't feel that way about it like you do.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of the background to their question.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that at all. It wasn't, like, forced or anything. It was just solely, I basically brought it onto myself. I just had someone there to guide me.
She wasn't, like, slapping you with a witch stick being like, do your lessons.
Yeah, pretty much. Go sweep the energies away.
So, alright, so Wicca.
Yes.
Is that strictly for girls?
What?
No.
Like covens and all that stuff, you always hear, like, it's always girls.
Yeah,
Girls
that's
are
just
what is, like, mostly tied to that stereotypically.
That's just like a really big misunderstanding. It's any gender or even any non-gender.
Yeah.
Like, witchcraft and Wicca is non-binary. It's not just
It does
one
not
person.
discriminate.
But I feel like, and this is where kind of like the science part of me comes into play, women have always had a more prevalent history of being easily swayed to believe things than men. And so
Yeah.
I don't think it's uncommon for women to believe in it more than men.
I could see that.
And so I think you see more females just because we open ourselves up to actually believe in it.
Yeah, you guys are much more attuned to accepting something than guys are.
Oh, yeah.
We're pretty just like,
More open-minded.
I can't kill it, so no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, give me proof or it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Y'all be burning us at the stake and shit. Can't trust you with all that. Have you ever been to Salem, Mary?
No.
Yeah.
I think I've been to Boston, Massachusetts. I don't know if I've ever been to Salem.
Yeah.
I recommend it just because, like, they have so much of the history there, and they tell it really straightforward. Like, yeah, humanity fucked up, and they killed a bunch of people who were just, being people.
I think they would also, like, in my head, I feel like they, try to profit off of the idea of the witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to treating it more as, like, a historical thing. That's just the way
Yeah.
I've always felt about it.
There's a lot of tourism there, but there's, like, also just, like, a lot of just strict history saying, like, yeah, like, we killed a whole bunch of people, and it was probably just a big case of mass hysteria, and we should feel bad about it as humans.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you kill a whole bunch of people, regardless of the reason,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
feel bad
It's
about
pretty
it.
It's a bad look.
Like, I know, so you brought up, like, people profiting on it. I know that you've come over before, having just been to Barnes & Noble and seen, like witch books out there. What do you have to say to these people that write books like that?
It makes me so mad. Like, I just
Really?
hate seeing people profit off of this because, again, I go back to there's no right way for one person to do things. It's all very much, finding it, not finding it yourself, but finding how it works best for you, yourself. Yeah. And
and there's people doing, like, the 1, 2, 3, you're a witch now books.
Yeah.
And just saying, there you go.
I'm like,
you have graduated.
Baby's first witchcraft.
It's like an insult to all of the people that put, like, actual hard work into atoning their craft and spent years studying and learning and finding it on their own and finding the covens and finding people to help them through it, that now we're just like, oh, here's a book.
Yeah.
Let me profit off of you people that don't know anything because you want an easy fix to this.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy thing to just do. But people that don't know anything want to just write up books or profit off of everybody else's ignorance, and it makes me angry.
Yeah.
I could go on about that for a very long time.
I know you could, because I remember that day when you came over.
It makes me so angry.
I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this next part. So, seeing merchandising that's geared toward witchcraft and stuff, is that the same as seeing witchcraft portrayed in movies like The Craft, Hocus Pocus, Harry Potter even. What are your thoughts on pop culture representation of witches?
So I actually don't watch a whole lot of like witch movies. I've of course seen all of the Harry Potters, and like I've seen The Craft and Hocus Pocus, but in general I don't really watch movies that much.
Yeah.
And I don't think there is one movie out there or one TV show out there that could properly represent them, because everything is always going to be so much more dramatized for television.
Yeah.
It's always going to be, you know, like big blinding lights, explosions, things floating around, people changing their hair color. And I'm like, if I could change my hair color with magic,
We're just going bloop.
it would make my life so much easier. Like, that's
Right.
not how this works.
Yeah, so I just got to see both of you together, and you guys have this whole, like, Sleeping Beauty thing going on right now. Mary's pink, you're blue, like,
Oh, yeah.
there's a whole thing
It
going
takes
on right
me
now.
It
8
was
hours
red.
in a beauty chair to look this good.
Oh, mine's strictly just getting dye and slopping it on my head. It takes like 10 minutes.
In the way that, like, pop culture represents the witch or anything like that, is there something from it that's not true, but you wish it were true that, like, you could do? Like, do you wish you could just be, like, a wand and go, bloop, now that's a thing?
Yes, I wish I could change my hair by just like doing the hand motion like they do in The Craft, because I don't know if you've seen The Craft, but all these
Yeah.
bitches
Yes.
do is like grab their hair and flip it back, and then all of a sudden they're blonde.
Whoosh, suddenly platinum blonde.
I'm like, that would make my life so much easier. It would be so much better on my hair. I wouldn't be like frying it to death anymore.
Right,
And
can I do
then-
my eyebrows too?
Right? And then I really want telekinesis,
Okay.
because I'm lazy and I really just want things to just come to me instead of getting up to get them.
Wingardium Leviosa.
It would make things so much easier.
So, I don't know about you, Kelsey, but I thought about this, and I know mine.
Of what kind of a spell you would wish you had that was
It's
real?
not even a spell, just like a thing that you see, like, witches do, but they don't really do.
Okay.
I would ride on the broom, man. Just being able to pick up anything and just, like, go.
We've never disproven that witches ride on brooms.
But
So
do
you're
you do it?
you're saying things that we don't do.
But do you do it?
It's actually the broom riding is actually a metaphor. It became like literal, but it was actually a term for head witches that they rode the barrier between the
Yeah.
real world and the paranormal world.
But
Oh.
so you just said it was a metaphor, so they don't really ride.
Not
brooms.
literally.
Okay, I want to literally
We use vacuums.
pick up a broom. Oh my god. I literally want to just be able to pick up something and go, oh, off to work, and go.
That would be awesome.
Like that's mine.
Yeah. Or you could just teleport.
Yeah, teleportation. That would be fucking cool.
Yeah, see, that'd be easier than just picking up a broom, because I, like, wouldn't have to go there in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'd like hit a bird on your way in.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Wings to the face. I would want transmogrification. I want to be a kitty cat. That's all I want out of life.
I can just only imagine how much that would actually hurt in real life.
Just like transforming into an animal. I mean, if you do it enough times, you get used to the pain.
Well,
I mean,
we'll see. I almost brought up a Marvel thing again.
Of course.
I went to oh shit, what was that show called? It was this one. It was on Netflix. It was really good. It had Bill Skarsgård in it, and he played a vampire. And then his friend was a werewolf.
Oh, dude, I know
Twilight.
the one you're... No. I know the one you're talking about.
And the
It was
Ouroboros
huge.
was like a big thing in it.
Dude, I know the one...
The Ouroboros was like the logo, I think.
I know the
Let's
one you're
Google
talking
this
about.
thing.
But yeah, so...
Hemlock Grove.
Yeah. I knew it started with an H.
So, like, in Hemlock Grove, they do, like, this one scene where the guy's turning into a werewolf, and it's, like, his skin's falling off, and his face
Yeah.
is, like, popping out, and that's the only way I can imagine that, like, actually turning into
Yeah.
an animal would be. And then
Yeah.
he comments that it never gets easier.
Well, sad.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a story, Kelsey, about me going with Mary to Carvana.
Okay.
Carvana.
So Mary had to get a new car. Something had happened to her old car, so she was like, hey, can you take me to Carvana? I gotta get my new one. And so as we're driving there, I was like, dude, I did not know Carvana sold brooms. Like, how much did you get this broom for? And she's like, it's not a broom. And I was like, you can say that all you want, but when it comes down and it's propped up. I was so sure you were going to get a broom.
It was not a broom.
Well, I hoped it was a broom.
The brand new Firebolt.
What was the other one that he had?
The Nimbus 2000.
Yeah, that's what I would get.
There you go.
That
was like the
that's the
first
cooler
one.
name one.
Yeah.
So, another thing that's in pop culture are like familiars.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have familiars?
I've never been versed on the familiar lore or whatever. Okay. I do have, a spirit guide, a spirit animal, and so in my head that kind of translates to the same thing.
Okay. I think in probably pop culture they're like, all right, well, that's like a spiritual thing, but we have to give it something that people can see, like, for the screen, so it's probably the same idea.
Yeah,
it's just you don't, like, actually go get a cat and go, yep, you do my bidding.
Yeah, like, the familiars are supposed to be, like, your eyes and ears, and so I've always associated them to, like, what your spirit animal would be.
Okay.
Because Shelby, my roommate and best friend, she, made a comment that her familiar would be her dog, Howie. And I was like, well, you wouldn't want your familiar to be something that you love because it kind of has to be replaceable.
Yeah.
Because it would need to be with you your entire life. So I feel like doing the spirit animal it would just make more sense to me if that's the way it was.
Can I ask what your spirit animal is?
It is a wasp.
Really?
Yep.
Like a beedrill?
No, like a wasp.
Yeah.
Not a Pokemon, like an actual,
all right.
like
You
yellow
ever been
jacket
stung
wasp.
by a wasp?
I have not. I have had them land on me more times than I can count. I've had them fly up my pant legs. I've had them on my jackets.
They are her spirit animal. They are not going to harm her.
I have never been stung by a wasp.
Me neither, so that's good.
All right, so on the topic of pop culture witches again, what's the most offensive, wildly inaccurate movie about witches or TV show that makes you, like, mad every time people cite it in the way of witches?
I mean, they're all wildly inaccurate. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's one that, like, particularly sets me off. That's like, oh, this is so stupid. But I just think, like, as a whole, they're all way dramatized.
Yeah.
And it's dramatized to the point where people become, like, they have this disbelief that witches actually are real. Because they're like, oh, you can't do magic like that. Witchcraft can't be a real thing.
Yeah.
And they get that kind of mindset from it as opposed to the way we actually do it.
Yeah.
And there's just no representation of a real witch anywhere because it's not dramatic enough.
Yeah,
Right.
like, it's always either they're evil, they're trying to do something bad, or just something bad always happens. Like, it's always something's going wrong.
Yeah. I think any of them, like, and I'm a diehard Harry Potter fan, but I think any of them that use wands are kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. The fact that they have to hold a stick to be able to access any powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
a magic stick.
I'm like, I've never known, like, and you have things that, like, have magic itself, but I've never known of, like, an actual real witch to be like, this is my wand, it's how I do all of my magic.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, I just think it's ridiculous because a wand can break, which happens in Harry Potter.
Yeah, multiple
times.
times. To multiple people.
It's like, why would you put all of your magical basis in something that can just be snapped in half?
Yeah.
Just
Well,
one fragile stick.
I mean,
Yeah.
in Harry Potter's defense, they didn't put all of their magic in it. It was used as a channeling device to focus their magic, which makes sense, but it's still not something we do.
Yeah.
I wish that wands were, like, able to be used as different objects. Like, instead of having a wand, you could have, like, a little stuffed teddy bear that you just focus all your thoughts through. And you, like, hold out the bear.
Hagrid has his umbrella, so...
Yeah. Magical
And
umbrella.
then Lucius had his cane.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, so it has to be just, like, a long, thin
Have
shape.
to have something long and pointy to point the magic at.
Like, even Mary Poppins had her umbrella.
I would use, like, a stiletto heel. Just, like, bam.
Would you call Mary Poppins a witch, though?
Absolutely.
So there is one good representation of the witch. It's just inaccurate as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, they're all inaccurate. But
Yeah.
there's not, like, one that just really makes me angry or one that I would say is really good.
Yeah.
They all suck.
So, like, to me, one of the ones that seems to be, like, real big for pop culture ones is that they all worship the devil.
No, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Because, like,
That's-
so, like, Sabrina, the new show on
Yeah.
Netflix, that's the big thing. And Hocus Pocus, like, they're like, Master! When they see the devil. Like,
Satanic panic is real, man.
that's, like,
Yeah.
a big misrepresentation of it.
100%, because that's not accurate. Satanism is actually its own separate religion that's not related to paganism, Wicca, or witchcraft at all.
Yeah.
Satanism is complete own separate thing, and anybody that practices magic has nothing to do with it. They're not correlated.
Yeah.
Because in like actual Satanism religion, from what I've
Somewhat researched.
yeah, they don't really do like rituals and sacrifices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They have like a Church of Satan, which is a lot like your regular old Church of Christ or whatever,
Yeah.
Christian church, and so they don't delve deep into like magic. Now there are individuals that witchcraft and Satanism go hand in hand, but
Okay.
those are isolated incidences.
Yeah.
Those are I would say ignorant people to witchcraft that think that this is the only way that they can get it done is by Satanism.
Yeah.
So it's not like used at all really in witchcraft.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I figured. It's just, that's pretty much what you get when you see
Yeah.
it anywhere. It's always related to that.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
And that does bother me because then it pulls, the Christian religion into it and they're separate. Like, you can have a witch that's not Christian, you can have a witch that is Christian. Like, they're two separate things. They're
Yeah.
not correlated at all.
Do you know any Christian witches?
I'm watching her. Her mind, she is going through the Rolodex of her brain right now.
I mean, I haven't talked to my mom about it in a long time, but both me and her were raised Christian, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, went to church and all that. I still go to, a Church of Christ occasionally. I went to a Baptist church a couple weeks ago. I wouldn't necessarily say I am a Christian, but I wouldn't say that I'm not a Christian. I like to learn all sorts of different religions
Yeah.
because I don't have a religion of my own. I think my mother would be a Christian in her own way and her own beliefs.
Yeah.
Like I said, her mindset could have changed since the last time we talked about it because we don't talk about religion in my immediate family.
Yeah.
But it's not like unheard of for a witch to be a Christian.
Yeah, so we talked about the paranormal and experiences you've had there before. You said that you've, like, seen people and stuff. You ever experienced, like, a haunting or had some psychic visions or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Ghosts come to me in my dreams all the time. They're constantly yelling at me. I have to tune them out. Like, it's really bad, especially around Halloween. So I stop,
Sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, I don't get a whole lot of sleep. I experience dreams, and a lot of the time these dreams are things that have just happened or things that will happen, and those happen all the time. I'm constantly seeing people that aren't there. I'm constantly hearing things that aren't there. The first ever, like, real encounters that I had with them is we lived out in, like, East Texas, way, way, way away, and we had this piano that was from like the early 1800s, I think. It was
Okay.
super old piano, and it would just randomly play by itself, and I was the only one in the house that played piano.
Mm-hmm.
So for it to be playing like actual music,
And it's like, dude, I'm over here.
yeah, and so it would play by
Ragtime ghost.
itself. I would see people in that house. Like, I think everybody in the house saw these ghosts. My little standing fan would turn on and off by itself, even if it wasn't plugged in. Like, I could go on and on. There's so much ridiculousness.
Yeah. Shit, I just had a question. Oh, I was just going to say, well, I know that sometimes on Halloween, don't you do tarot card readings and stuff?
I do, yeah. I was actually offered a couple of tarot gigs this year, but for the past couple years I haven't been doing them. But yeah, I used to get hired to do tarot readings at this bar that
Yeah.
I would frequent at. It was just little fun. I would only do it the one day of the year, though, just Halloween.
Yeah. Did you charge for it, or were you like, nah, dude,
Uh,
it's real, man?
The bar would pay me because they hosted a Halloween party.
Oh, okay.
So they would pay me as, like, this little gig. and then people would tip me. And so I was like, yay, free money.
Yeah.
Just sit here and read some cards. I got this.
Did you ever make anybody cry?
I made someone cry with happiness.
That's good.
Oh, that's good.
There was this one chick that came in one time, and I was sitting there and I was just reading her cards, and I didn't know anything about her or what she was going through, but I was basically telling her that there was going to be like a big change in her life. Someone very close to her was going to say something that she really wanted to hear. And, you know, it was just an overall good reading. And so she left, and she came back in with her boyfriend, and she was like, here, tell him this. Tell him everything you just told me.
Oh, my God.
And she's sitting here, like, waving her finger, and this boyfriend's like, oh, my God, why am I sitting here doing this? And so I read him the cards, and I was like, this is what's going on. And this dude, like, stone cold, pulled a ring out of his pocket and was like, well, there you go. Why you gotta ruin things?
My God.
I was like, I'll take that tip now. Then she later told me she had been trying to get him to propose for like 4 months or something.
Yeah.
And she
Dang.
didn't expect it, and she was hoping that I would be the one to coerce him to doing
Oh my
it. So
God.
she didn't expect him to already have the ring.
That's so funny.
It was pretty good.
Oh my
I think
God.
about that a lot. It makes me laugh.
So, I know that you've told me once that... Alright, so you said that you sacrifice things to
Yeah.
get things back.
Yeah.
So, you had told me once that you had to sacrifice something to find your car keys that were missing.
It was my passport.
So you
What?
used your passport to get
Yeah.
your keys back.
No,
Did you just
no,
light
I
it
was
on fire?
missing
Oh.
my passport.
Okay.
Oh.
It was nothing to do with the car keys. It was my missing passport because I was flying out of the country and I didn't have my license because it was expired, so I couldn't use that. I wasn't flying out of the country. I was flying out of the state.
Yeah.
And so I needed my passport, and it was like a week before we were supposed to leave. And I'm tearing the house apart. I'm going through everything in my room. I can't find this passport anywhere. Like, this house has been torn apart. So I just do, and I won't get into, like, the nitty-gritty
Yeah.
details, but I had this little box of jelly beans.
Okay.
And it was Harry Potter jelly beans, so I was saving them. I was like, it was a birthday present, so I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep this little box of jelly beans forever, even though I don't like them. But I couldn't find my passport. So I sacrificed this box of jelly beans to the fairies, and I basically set up a ritual circle, put the jelly beans in the center of it, left, and when I came back, the jelly beans were gone, and so I started searching for the passport, and I found it in the first spot that I looked. That
Damn.
I already looked at like 20 different times.
Uh-huh.
So the fairies hid your passport.
The fairies took my passport, and they wanted the jelly beans. So after they got the jelly beans, they brought the passport back.
Rude.
So, are they like a mischievous band, I guess? Fairies?
It's just like, it's another terminology for like deities,
Yeah.
spirits, beings. I wouldn't say necessarily, no, yeah, I probably would say, yeah, they can be mischievous, but they also can help. You just have to know how to like keep them in line. Like, you're supposed to feed the
Yeah.
house fairies and feed the house brownies, and if they take something, you give them something else. They just have to be entertained
Yeah.
constantly.
So you said house fairies. Does that mean like they pertain to that area? Or like...
That house.
So, like, when you move into a new house, there's a new set of fairies.
New set of fairies.
So the things that could appease your old house don't apply
New
to this
story.
one. Oh, man.
Yep.
What you gotta do is find the tiny, tiny door that they come out of, and you just barricade that shit.
Oh, my God.
I wish it was that easy. And whenever, like, moving into a new house in and of itself is like a whole process, because you have to cleanse the house, seal the windowsills and the doors, sweep the evils away, and then basically feed the fairies before you
Yeah.
can even bring all of your stuff in. And you hope that you feed the fairies something that they like.
Do they eat just food, or can you feed them, like, another passport?
Like, items.
No, I always feed them something that I eat. Whenever I'm eating something, they get a little piece of it.
Yeah.
Little sacrificial meal for them.
So you're always pouring one out for the fairies.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Don't pour out too much, you'll drown them.
No, they're pretty resilient. They'll just steal my passport again and make my life hell.
Yeah. As we wind this down
Yes.
on this spooky Halloween night,
Ooh.
is there anything that you want to tell somebody that maybe is looking into getting into it, doesn't know what to do, besides don't buy a 1, 2, 3 book for it?
Don't buy a 1, 2, 3 book. Find a coven, and Wicca and witchcraft are two separate things. Witchcraft doesn't have rules. Wicca is a religion, so it does have rules. So if you want to get into the Wicca religion, like, find somebody that knows that. But if you want to get into witchcraft, I would say find somebody that already practices it, or find a coven to find yourself.
Yeah.
Like, never pick up how to be a witch for dummies.
How do you find a coven, though? Like, do you just go on Google and be like, covens near me?
I mean, it couldn't hurt, but a lot of the time, like, they have witchcraft stores. There's a term for them that I'm just blanking on right now.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, people there kind of know one another. It's just about finding someone that knows someone.
It's all about finding the community.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of.
I'm sure you could even, like, Google, like, established witches that actually do make some kind of career out of it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Yeah.
And then they could, you know, offer advice and lend their expertise that way.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Alright.
Not the fake ones.
We're gonna close this book before Mary blows up on him.
Let's sacrifice this soundbite to the fairies. Please tell your friends about us. Help us grow our audience. Get some more interviews like this on our podcast. Do you want to be on our podcast? We'll interview you. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We release weekly every damn Monday and sometimes a Thursday.
Oh!
If you have a second to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, that really helps us out.
You can also find us and friend us on social media. We are at YMBToAP on Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to come check out our Facebook page, and be sure to check out our YouTube page, which we finally figured out how to use. We're getting that shit on there.
Hell yeah.
And if you want to hear some more cool topics like this, or if you think you have a topic that you want to talk to us about like this, you can email that to us at ymbtoap@gmail.com. Please give us your listener mail. Tell us all this kind of shit. If you are Wicca or practice witchcraft, write into us and let us know what you do. Like, that's cool.
Unless you're sacrificing dogs, I really don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Our theme song is The Grim Reaper Blows the Horn by Farage. It's very spooky. I recommend you check it out on YouTube.
And as always, thanks for listening, and tune in next time to get that answer to the burning question, are leprechauns actually real?
But we had one more important sound we wanted you to hear.
Boo!